Energy efficiency is at the core of European energy policy. It's not probably the most spoken about in the public debate. It's easier in TV to show photos or live film of a wind turbine than it is of a small thermostat or technical solution in a production process. But nonetheless, the facts are quite clear. The energy not used is the cheapest energy at all. The solutions that are there just in front of us, if we invest, will pay back fast, and quite soon after having made those investments, it will create a surplus. At the same time, we know that if we don't become far more efficient, our competitiveness will suffer. So, we have three major challenges today in European energy policy. One is our competitiveness. We pay 2 or 3 times more for our energy in Europe than they do in the US and China. This obviously means that the less energy we can actually use, the better we will be situated in the world markets. It also means that we need to think much harder about how to rationally produce and consume energy in Europe than what we're doing today. Second big challenge is obviously decarbonization. We know that if we do not step up and fast track our transition globally, but certainly also in the EU, because the world needs leaders and we should be such a leader, then we will not be able to keep temperature increases below 1.5 or maybe even 2 degrees. And climate change is not something that might happen in the future. It's something that's already here, and it's something that we have a moral imperative to fight, because if we don't, we know that it will hit the most vulnerable parts of our populations the hardest. But apart from that, it's also healthy economics, because climate change will also undermine our economies and our competitiveness. So for those very important reasons, we cannot backtrack on the green transition. On the contrary, we need to fast track. Now, the third challenge is, of course, security. Both security of supply, but also security in the more hardcore sense of the word. We have a war on our continent. Some of our member states are actually fearing that they will be next in line for Putin's aggression. And without energy security, there is no real security. I was Minister of Energy in Denmark when Putin started his full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 22. And I can tell you that the first weeks and months in the ministry, we spent most of our time, day and night, finding out what we would actually do if Putin turned off the tap, if he closed for the gas to Europe. We had to have lists of companies that we would have to force to close down. And this was in Denmark. We weren't even as exposed as many other European countries. So had he done that from one day to the next, Europe would have been in a recession. Thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people would have been without a job, and all Europeans would have been affected. Obviously, it's not sustainable in any way to be so dependent of any other country, certainly not of an enemy. Adding to that, the paradox that we've been spending money indirectly supporting Putin's war machine. Last years combined, we've spent more money buying energy in Russia than we've given in aid to Ukraine. So on one hand, we've done quite well because we've managed to go from 51% of our coal coming from Russia to 0, from 27% of our oil to 3, from 45% of our gas to 13. So that is a success, you could say. I don't know of any other continent on the planet that could transform that fast their energy systems. But at the same time, even though we've come far, last month we paid Russia 1.8 billion for energy. This will not stand, obviously. So the Commission has put forward a roadmap to end this dependency, and we will. But it's not an easy task, obviously. And we need energy efficiency to be part of the solution. We need more deployment of renewables, goes without saying. That's both cheaper and totally necessary for us to replace the fossils. By the way, this is not only about Russia. Last year we imported for more than 400 billion euros fossils. A couple of years ago it was over 600 billion euros. So this is for our entire economy. But we need to be much more efficient. We need to deploy these new solutions faster. The European Union has, within the last couple of years, done some quite significant progress. If we look at energy efficiency legislation already implemented, and we look at those numbers, when they add up, it's energy saved that equals the combined energy use of several member states put together. So it's not small things that we have done. And if we look at the decisions that has been made and legislation that has been passed that will be implemented in the years to come, really the potential is very, very significant. But we do have one challenge. It's probably bigger than all of the other challenges connected to energy efficiency, and that is the investments. We need to mobilize more investments. In a way, it's a little bit strange because when we look at how fast energy efficiency investments pay back, if we look at the business cases, if we look at the regulatory framework, it should be a no-brainer. Nonetheless, it is not. You in this room know more about the details than I probably. So you are also obviously very much aware that even though it should seem simple, it is not simple when it comes to the actual business decision being made. But this forum, bringing together these actors, is a significant step, and it's a very good platform for discussing, getting together, using synergies in order for us to solve those different barriers that we face. It's about sharing best practices. It's about networking. It's about giving, of course, also recommendations to policymakers like myself on where do we need to go in the future, both with regards to the implementation of things we've already done, but also with regards to future policy initiatives. But first and foremost, it's about bringing together decision makers on different levels, experts on different levels. So I thank you so much for coming here today. I thank you so much for taking this very important challenge on board. I believe that together in the European Union we do have a bright future, even though we are looking into some very serious challenges right now. The reason I believe that is that look around the world, look across the Atlantic, for instance. Are there anywhere as well situated as we are actually, if we analyze it, for the future economy? Despite all of the challenges that I just mentioned, I don't think there is our social systems, our education level, our energy union, which even though there's still a lot to be done, are still connecting us in a way that's superior to anywhere else in the world. We save more than 30 billion euros a year on being connected as we are in our energy market. So even though there's a lot of potential, and ASA estimates that that number could be 40 or 50 billion, still, we would pay 30 billion more for our energy in Europe if we were 27 different countries instead of one union. So that gives us a lot to build on. With those words, I wish you a very good day here today, and I thank you again. Thank you.